The sacred circle of life, the sacred circle of life. Move to the rhythms of mystery, sing to the wisdom for harmony. Sacred circle of life, the sacred circle of life. Move to the rhythms of mystery, sing to the wisdom through harmony.
Jennifer and I met at Rum's Country Day School. I was in the 2 grades ahead of her. She was in my sister Debbie's class. And she'll tell you she had a crush on me back then, but it took until we were out of college, or at least I was out of college, that we started going out. And so what we've tried to put together with you is some of Jennifer's early work and middle work and the work that she's doing now, because she's naturally born right-handed, but the right hand doesn't work anymore. So what she does is with her
left.
Her left.
Yeah, this is a painting I started a long time ago. And I love Asbury Park, and I love going down there. And this is the carousel down there. And I love carousels. And so they've always been a part of me.
Yeah, just to add on to it, this, as it exists right there, was started before we were married, 1971. And we carried it with us to upstate New York, brought it back to New Jersey, took it back to upstate New York, brought it back to New Jersey. And then when we finally moved back here in 2015, she took it over, Jennifer took it over to Sarah Hilton, who is a local artist and friend. And Sarah helped set it up so that Jennifer could finish off what you see as the background and the grill work. So this painting is
a long time.
It's a long time, and it has existed longer than we've been married. And I'll show you, well, I can show you later, I guess, the little carousels that we have mounted next to the finished painting on the wall. So this is on our porch after Jennifer finished the grill work and the framing of the inside of the carousel, and we brought it home.
Yes, and it's just been I'm slow, and it's a slow work. And
so I'll show you the little carousels.
Yes. Oh, magical.
So they're the carousels.
I love it. I love it.
I love doing animals, so they're always fun for me to do.
So this was done when our daughter Philippa, who is on this Zoom meeting, was about maybe 10 years old, wanted an animal painted by Jennifer in her room.
Yeah.
So this is what Jennifer did.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And this was a painting I did thinking of when I was in Red Creek, because it was when you went Red Creek, we drive down this long road to go over to the lake. And it was it was like going through a jungle, getting down it, walking down the path. And, but it was all worth it because look at the incredible lake and
Yeah, in the background, you can see Lake Ontario. And then there's a little blonde sitting up on top of the hill. That's Jennifer. So
and this is
from there, we jumped, that was probably done around 1990, in the 1990s. Now we jump all the way to 2017, 2016, and Jennifer's lost her use of her right arm, right hand. So she's doing this with her left. And you can interpret this any way you want. It's actually, could be a flower pot, or it could be our pool in Middletown, surrounded by slate and vegetation.
I think it's, what did you say at first?
Flower pot.
Yeah, I think
That's what you think it is?
I think it's more of a pot.
Okay.
But it was just a fun painting to do. And this is Joe, our dog, who's a whippet. And he's a very elegant dog.
Yeah, and Joe is, Jennifer really captured Joe. Those who know Joe know that Joe looks just like this. And this was done in 2018, left hand only, a very quick day at the studio.
Yeah. Yeah, I love doing animals, so I can always knock out an animal. And I guess these are some horses in the water.
Yeah, as time went on in 2018, 19, prior to the pandemic, you'll see that the brush strokes of Jennifer's get more elongated and kind of rhythmical. And these are two horses running in the wind.
They're running in the ocean.
Oh, running in the ocean, excuse me.
And I always love horses with flared nostrils. When I was a little girl, I started drawing horses. My father was so critical of them.
Well, and here that brush stroke with long kind of reeds and color, that's beginning to be the prominent style of Jennifer's work that you'll see later translates into the work she's done on pieces of pottery, plates and bowls. And then this is in Sarah's studio with working on a small four-piece group of paintings. Again, it's just sort of stream of consciousness. And then this is one of our favorite. So it's two birds in the reeds. I mean, it's one of my favorite.
Yeah, it's really nice on a wall because the birds just sort of disappear in the reeds and you sort of find them and they disappear. And that's what birds do when you're watching them in the water.
Now, Sarah our friend, also works at a school or a home for autistic kids that have graduated from high school. And they come to her studio, and they've been doing pottery work for some time. So Jennifer started doing this as well. And so we have plates that are about 12 inches in diameter. And that's our hot chili plate. This was actually the very first one Jennifer did. So Jennifer will paint them, and then Sarah glazes, puts 5 coats of glaze, and then it gets fired locally with here in Eatontown. And that's the inside. This was the very first one, so it's a little rough on the inside, but it's about 8 inches in diameter. And then this is a little selection. These were meant for Christmas presents. You can see the Christmas wrapping underneath. Okay. Then this was our Easter card, which was a painting, but turned out to be our 2018, 19, 20, 21 Easter, Christmas, peace, love, any card you want.
There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake LaBarge I cremated Sam McGee. Now Sam McGee was from Tennessee, where the cotton blooms and blows. Why he left his home in the South to roam round the pole, God only knows. He was always cold, but the land of gold seemed to hold him like a spell. Though he'd often say in his homely way that he'd sooner live in hell. On a Christmas day we were mushing our way over the Dawson Trail. Talk of your cold through the parka's fold, it stabbed like a driven nail. If our eyes we closed and the lashes froze till sometimes we couldn't see. It wasn't much fun, but the only one to whimper was Sam McGee. And that very night, as we lay packed tight in our robes beneath the snow, and the dogs were fed and the stars overhead were dancing heel and toe, he turned to me and Cap, says he, I'll cash in this trip, I guess. And if I do, I'm asking that you won't refuse my last request. Well, he seemed so low that I couldn't say no. Then he says with a sort of moan, it's the cursed cold and it's got right hold till I'm chilled clean through to the bone. Yet 'tain't being dead, it's my awful dread of the icy grave that pains. So I want you to swear that foul or fair, you'll cremate my last remains. Pal's last need is a thing to heed, so I swore I would not fail. And we started on at the streak of dawn, but God, he looked ghastly pale. He was crouched in the sleigh and he raved all day of his home in Tennessee. And before nightfall, a corpse was all that was left of Sam McGee. There wasn't a breath in that land of death, and I hurried, hard-driven, with a corpse half hid that I couldn't get rid because of a promise given. It was lashed in the sleigh, and it seemed to say, you may tax your brawn and brain, but you promised true, and it's up to you to cremate these last remains. Now a promise made is a debt unpaid. The trail has its own stern code. In the days to come, though my lips were dumb, in my heart how I cursed that load. And the long, long night by the lone firelight, while the huskies round in a ring howled out their woes to the homeless snows. Oh God, how I loathe that thing. And every day that quiet clay seemed to heavy and heavier grow. And on I went, though the dogs were spent and the grub was getting low. The trail was bad and I felt half mad, but I swore I would not give in. And I'd often sing to that hateful thing, and it hearkened with a grin, till I came to the marge of Lake Labarge, and a derelict there lay. It was jammed in the ice, and I saw in a trice it was called the Alice May. I looked at it and I thought a bit, and I looked at my frozen chum. Then here said I with a sudden cry, is my crematorium. Some planks I tore from the cabin floor, and I lit the boiler fire. Some coal I found that was lying around, and I heaped the fuel higher. The flames just soared and the furnace roared, such a blaze you seldom see. And I burrowed a hole in the glowing coal, and I stuffed in Sam McGee. Then I made a hike, for I didn't like to hear and sizzle so. And the heavens scowled, and the huskies howled, and the wind began to blow. It was icy cold, but the hot sweat rolled down my cheeks, and I don't know why. And the greasy smoke in an inky cloak went streaking down the sky. I do not know how long in the snow I wrestled with grisly fear, but the stars came out and they danced about. There again I ventured near. I was sick with dread, but I bravely said I'll just take a peep inside. I guess he's cooked, and it's time I looked, and the door I opened wide. And there sat Sam looking cool and calm in the heart of the furnace roar. And he wore a smile, you could see a mile, and he said, please close that door. It's fine in here, but I greatly fear you'll let in the cold and storm. Since I left Plum Tree down in Tennessee, it's the first time I've been warm. There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake Labarge. I cremated Sam McGee.
Good.
Yay.
May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your